I couldn't be found. I'll fly big home. The bare necessities of life will come to you. They'll come to you.
Welcome back, everybody. Hope you're doing well. So today we're going to be talking about betta fish or betta fish, however you prefer to pronounce it. I know some people are very particular. This is how to care for your first or your 100th betta. I'll go over what I look for when I'm ready to purchase a new betta, common illnesses, the ones I've had to deal with in the past, how I treated them, proper treatments, what I feed them, optimal tank parameters, and everything to keep your betta healthy and happy and thriving. So one of the first things you want to think about before even looking at fish, consider some of the following things, like your budget for starters. This isn't just going and buying a fish and a bowl or small tank and being done with it. You really want to consider the tank size. And there's a lot of things out there, like on Pinterest and Facebook, of these people showing off betta fish in jars and in plant vases and stuff like that. That's a no. That's a no-no. Do not do that. That is really not a optimal environment for your fish. Yeah, it can probably live. I know a couple people that have had them live for, a year or two in that situation. But that is not thriving. That is not a happy fish. That is not the optimal setting for these animals. Now, there are a lot of opinions out there on what the minimum size requirements are for a betta fish. The general consensus is a minimum of 2.5 gallons. So when you're at the store looking at fish and tanks, take that into consideration, because typically the larger tank size, the more expensive it is. But there are plenty of excellent deals if you keep your eye open. Petco does a $1 per gallon sale every 3 months. It's actually going on right now, April 2nd to I think May 29th or something like that. Go check out your local Petco for more details, or just chat them up online. I've had really good luck with their customer support online. Next thing you want to consider is filtration. This is really important, and I think a lot of people actually skip this out, especially when they're new to the hobby or new to fish keeping in general. I think a lot of people think that betta fish can just survive in a cup with nothing and just water that they pour in from their tap, which we'll get into in a little bit, and why that's a terrible idea. You're going to end up buying a couple more fish and you're going to wonder why everything you touch dies. So let's avoid all that and talk about proper filtration and why that's such a big deal for a fish tank and the nitrogen cycle. So each one of my tanks has some level of filtration, whether it's a hang in the back filter, something that's internal with the tank, or canister filter. I also even have a couple sponge filters for my 10 gallons, which work great, and they're very cost effective, very easy to set up. But the purpose of all of this is where your good bacteria lives and feeds off the waste of the fish that you have in your tank. So when the fish go to the bathroom, they release ammonia, which the bacteria will turn into nitrites, which will eventually turn into nitrate, which is not nearly as toxic to the fish as straight up ammonia, which will kill your fish. And that is a very quick and dirty explanation as to why we have filters and why it is a good thing. If you want more information on it, go check out some videos. I'm going to link in the description, and some resources to read up more about that. And it really gets into the science of it and why this is so important for a long-lasting, healthy environment for your new fish. Now you can say that you learned something new today. Woo! Achievement unlocked. Next thing on the list is heaters. So betta fish are tropical fish. They prefer heated water to around 78 to, I would say, highest is 84 degrees. I wouldn't really go over that, but that is kind of the range you want your betta fish to be in. They prefer tropical climates. So if you want your betta fish to thrive, this is something you need to invest in. You need to go look at heaters. Most smaller tanks can get away with 25 to 50 watt heaters. That is about the minimum I go. I'm in Kansas, so it gets pretty cold here in the winter, and we are subjugated to power outages every now and then. So having those internal heaters in each one of my tanks is a lifesaver. I can just hook it up to my generator, and I'm good. I don't have to worry about it. I would also consider some other additional costs, such as your substrate, your sand or gravel, whatever you decide to use, any other decorations, whether those are rocks, driftwood, real or fake plants. I prefer real plants. I don't find them that difficult to take care of, especially the low light like the Java ferns, Java moss, and some of the crypts. They're really easy to take care of. They don't require a whole lot of attention. They don't require fertilizers and CO2 or anything like that. So you can get away with just having your betta fish in there, and the waste that it produces, thanks to the nitrogen cycle, will eventually turn into nitrates, which is what the plants will consume for nutrients. So next up would be a light. Most all-in-one systems come with some kind of low wattage LED light system, but in the event that you get a tank that does not have a light, you can go buy one either from the pet store or elsewhere. I am using a couple $10 IKEA lights on several of my tanks, and they work out great. They support plant life. It's not very blinding white light. It's a really warm kind of sun-colored LED, and I personally love it. It was a very inexpensive but very effective lighting system. Next up, a very important thing before I forget, get a test kit, a freshwater test kit. You may even want to consider getting a GH and KH. Not as important, still kind of important, but that's kind of more advanced stuff that we can get into later. But definitely just get your API master test kit. I would personally suggest the liquid test kit. I've had greater accuracy with that. Some people swear by the strips, but honestly, as long as you get one or the other, that's what's really important. Make sure you're testing your water, your levels are good. You're going to want to test your tap water and your tank water, and this is before you get a fish. Make sure your levels are stable. You want 0 ammonia, you want 0 nitrites, and your nitrates should not really be above 40. So that is a rough guide. If you need more information immediately, go Google it, go check it out on YouTube. There are tons of other videos. I'll try to link some down in the description below, if you can't wait for my next video in the next couple days to a week. And of course, last but not least, you want to think about food and your water conditioner. So let's talk about water conditioner first. I personally use Seachem Prime because it does everything. It detoxifies your ammonia, nitrites, nitrates, and then it also removes the chlorine and chloramines from your tap water system. Now this is very important because chlorine and your chloramines are used to kill off bacteria. So if you're adding just straight up tap water, not only will it kill any kind of biofilter that you are working on developing, but your fish will not like it. They will not be pleased with you, and most likely they will die. So when you're doing a water change, you always want to follow the directions, but this isn't something that you can actually overdose on. So if you end up adding more than what you think is necessary, that is a good thing. It is not a terrible thing to add too much. It's not going to harm the fish unless you literally put your fish in a bowl of brine. That's not good, so don't do that either. But with that said, make sure the water temperature is the same as your fish tank, so you will want to consider something else. Get a thermometer for your fish tank so you can see what the temperature is, make sure your heater is functioning properly and all that. So I normally like to take my thermometer out of my tank, put it in the tap water that I'm using to make sure the temperature is right. And then I dose it with my prime, and then I slowly add it back to the tank. I actually use a python for my bigger tanks, but my smaller ones, I use some airline tubing, or I use like old distilled water jug that I use since it's food grade plastic. I normally use that to do water changes for my smaller tanks, and I like to pour it on some decoration so it doesn't disturb the substrate and kick up a whole bunch of detritus. But so overall, that's pretty easy. Nothing that you really need to do at that point. But again, that's only after you get your tank cycled, which is really important. And I'll try to do that in the next video. I'm not going to get everything that I wanted to in this video, so this will probably be like a 3-part series. But now another thing to consider is your diet. So I feed a mixture of foods. I do flakes, tropical flakes that are easy to come by. I use the Aquarium brand of fish flakes. I also use freeze-dried bloodworms and plankton. I also sometimes use pellets, but not too often. I try to give a little bit of variety so they have a healthy, balanced diet. Make sure they get plenty of protein as well. And then an important thing to note in terms of like feeding schedule, I normally feed twice a day, just a little bit. So first thing when I wake up and then when I get home from work is when my feedings happen. And in the event that you do end up like miss a feeding or something, I do it every now and then. I'm really busy in the morning and I gotta turn my lights on, then rush out the door. Your fish will survive. You don't need to feed it every single day. There are some people who fast their fish a day or two because it's more natural that way. I'm sure that's extremely debatable, but just find a schedule that suits you. I do it twice a day because that's what's easy for me to remember, and I enjoy seeing my fish eat. They're like little puppy dogs. When I walk in the room, they all come to the front of the tank and expect me to feed them because they're little gluttons. On the flip side of that, do not overfeed your fish. Betta will continue to eat, and you do not want to overfeed them because that, can cause bloat and some other problems. You want a very well balanced diet, just like any pet. You don't want your dog to overeat and their stomach explode. That's not a good thing, so I wouldn't do that. But that concludes part 1. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate it. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, comment below, let me know what your experiences are. Maybe I forgot something that you thought of that I didn't. But yeah, let me know. And stay tuned because I got 2 more videos coming up. There's a lot I want to go over. Things I look for when buying a betta, common illnesses that are frequent when caring for a betta, how I treat those. I want to talk a little bit more about the filtration and nitrogen cycle. I know there are tons of videos out there, but it's kind of part of the series and an extremely important part to this hobby. So stay tuned, and again, thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.